Welcome back to Tux Traveler. Well, I wanted to record this video outside, nice campground, but it did start to rain a little bit, and I just want to do a brief little pros and cons of buying a campsite. So this campsite cost me, I think it was like $27, like $21 plus $6.50 in taxes and other fees. So the overall price is not all that bad for a good, safe place to park. And depending on where you are, they might be more expensive, they might be less expensive. Or here in Pennsylvania, in many of the state forests, you can find places to camp for free. There's no services or anything like that. But in this campground here, we did have some more services. I had a lot of, I wanted to come here specifically to do one specific task, and that was to film the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon area, because it is a really, really nice place, especially in the fall. And so we came down here to do this, and I don't usually buy campsites. I've also bought one to go camping with a friend in a place with services. So those are the kind of the things I look at. Well, let's go ahead and talk about a few of the pros and a few of the cons. Your biggest pro on it is, in a campground, you're going to be less likely to be hassled, harassed, or have some weirdo come up and mess with your vehicle. Not that that's really going to happen a lot of places, especially depending on what state you're in. You might have a little bit more of that if it's a higher crime area, or a little bit less of that if you're somewhere out west and everybody's carrying and you don't want to mess with somebody's vehicle because they might jump out and shoot you or something. And so you're going to have a lot better and safer spots if you're buying a campsite for the most part than if you're just kind of parking somewhere like, I was parked at a gas station outside Chattanooga, Tennessee. About 2 in the morning, 2 drunk Tennesseans got into a fight right next to my car, and I thought someone's going to pull out a gun and I'm going to be dead. Shot dead resting in a gas station. Not a good headline for the end of my epitaph. But that being said, the other major pros of here, I'm able to fill up all of my water jugs. We have full water facilities here, and it's actually just I can see it. It's really close. I can see it. I can see it. Not very nice water spigots, good, clean, potable water. I went through the van, found every water bottle, every jug, everything, topped everything off. So the $20 fee is very well worth that if you're looking for a place where you can top off all of your waters, regardless of how much water you have. Additionally, we have full service restrooms here. Not all campsites do, but there is even a shower over there. And so if I'm like, okay, I really need a shower, need a safe place to park, my water tanks are empty and all this, campsites, great places. Additionally, you're going to have places where they're probably more level out of the box, and so that's one of the good factors. I didn't have to come here and mess with finding a good spot, just park right into the camp spot, and it was fairly level. So these are all benefits. And then usually you're going to have a lot nicer facilities, and in this case here, we're parked right at the east rim of the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. So I pop up in the morning. I got up earlier than I usually do. I woke up and I went down. I made myself some breakfast, and then I went down and hiked the entire down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. I hiked down as far as you can. Right now, part of the trail is closed, but I got in a really nice hike. Took in a lot of good scenery and photos. Came back up, talked to some people. Just really good time out here. And then just had a couple conversations with a few people in the campgrounds as well. And so these are the types of things that you find on the pro side of things. Also, depending on your campsite, you might have, more or less ability to see the stars at night, if that's your thing, or whatever else. So on the positives, you can refill all of the services of your van. If I knew I needed to work out here or something, I could get an electrical site and plug in if I thought solar was going to be a problem. In my case, it's not. My batteries are still super full. But I don't usually get service hookups unless I absolutely have to. But it was an option. So you can charge off batteries, you can charge off your water, get a shower. Some of them will even have laundry facilities. This one does not. But everything that we have is right here. It is a very good, I felt very safe and confident leaving my van here in the campground while I went and I did a few miles of hiking down in the canyon and taking in some shots and some scenery. So those are all the positives. let's talk now about some of the negatives. On the negatives, obviously the first one is the cost. I can't be dropping $20 every single night for a campsite. Not really interested. I mean, if I wanted to do that, I'd just rent an apartment. It's about the same fees. One of the negatives, another big negative, is I wanted to do more recording outside, but this campsite is, all the campsites are so close together. I don't want to get outside and do a lot of recording, because in that case, I could be disturbing the neighbors on either end. Now I got a really good campsite right here. I don't have a neighbor on the one side, but every other campsite down this way, all the way to the very end, they are pretty much on top of each other. So that's kind of a downside, is you don't have nearly as much privacy. I mean, I want to pop out in the middle of the woods and jump on out and water a bush rather than find a restroom. You can't always do that here. You know, these are the things. I don't know if you ladies have those urges or not, but us men. Other negatives and downsides, sometimes the facilities, I mentioned some of the facilities are really good. Some of the facilities are pretty bad. I've been in some campgrounds that are very loud, very noisy. That is one factor, is you could have noisy neighbors. I didn't. It was like dead silent at 8 o'clock. Now, maybe some of that is it started downpouring 8 o'clock last night and everyone went inside of their cars and their campers and their tents and things like that. But that being said, the inside of campground, some of the negatives are you could get neighbors with a lot of noise. You could have a campground that's like, for safety and our insurance purposes, we want to have a light every other campsite, and then you could have a lot of light pollution. This place, there's not a light to be found other than the restroom, so that was really good. It was very dark here, very good. But that is a negative about many of the campsites that I have been in the past, is too many light posts shining the way. And as far as the only other negative is, some people might just want to be out there, hang down your hair, and not have to worry about any etiquette or anything else. You want to blare your music. And that was, I wanted to watch some videos and stuff last night, but I didn't want to do that when I had the door open and cooking. I didn't want to disturb anybody else and things. But you have to have a lot more etiquette. You have to have a lot more, you have to be a lot more neighborly when you're in a campground than you do if you're boondocking in the middle of nowhere, or even one of the free rustic campsites that is in the middle of here in Pennsylvania, the state forests. You can camp in the rustic spots for free for, I think it's up to 7 days straight. You have to let the rangers know you're doing that, though. So with all that being said, there are positives, there are negatives of campgrounds. In this case, for me, it's worth the occasional dropping of a 20 spot to be able to have the facilities, fill up the water jugs, have the safe place to park, and, you know, just kind of have a little bit, let the hair down a little bit more than if you're in the middle of nowhere and you have some other worries and other concerns. So there's my thoughts. Let me know your positives and negatives of getting official campgrounds in the comments down below. Thanks for watching Tux Traveler. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you have not, and we will see you a little bit further down the road.